Again, a huge, huge, huge honor to be welcoming someone that I just think so highly of, and that's Dr. Christine Carter. I always learn from her. She's the author of 3 books. She is the parent of 4 teenagers. Right there, you know, that's the hardest job of all. And we'll be talking about this wonderful book, The New Adolescent, Raising Happy and Successful Teens in a Time of Anxiety and Distraction. Without further ado, Dr. Carter.
So talk a little bit about parents kind of keeping their emotion in check as they encourage and support.
You know, I think one of the most important things that we can say to the people in our lives and to teach our kids is that they are not responsible for other people's emotions. They are responsible for their own actions, right? I'm not saying that, but like how I feel as a parent about a decision a kid might make, especially like, or if they didn't make the sports team or whatever, right? They're not responsible for that. And so, and we don't really want them to feel responsible for our emotional reactions.
How about if you're really worried they're going down the wrong path, they're choosing wrong friends, and what's that balance of getting involved so that they don't do something that's maybe illegal or really inappropriate?
We can be highly engaged in what they're doing. We can ask them tons of questions about the choices that they're making. We can still let that be their call, right? Once they get older, you know, we can say, you know, you can make your own decisions. It really is your call. I'd like those decisions to be informed. And here's the information that I would like you to have. You know, when we sort of step down as their chief of staff doing things for them, it doesn't mean we become disengaged, right? We're right there next to them and we expect to be consulted. That doesn't mean they have to do what we say. And we need to be really careful as a consultant not to use words like should or have to ever, because that always implies force.
And so how about that balance of ensuring your messaging that it's important, but also you back off and have the child kind of take ownership?
Right? Help them, if they're not doing well, helping them pinpoint why, right? Like, where do they need more help? A lot of times they just don't know what the obstacle is. So asking them, you know, where do you think that, you know, I can see that you're not getting this concept in math yet, right? Yep. Like, we'll get you there. It's not that you're so concerned about the grade. What we need to be concerned about is the learning.
I see more and more with teenagers is conflict with friends per the social media, right? There's so much communication, and it's interesting how there's bullying, there's falling out among his or her friends.
Really talk with our kids a lot about social media. What platforms are they on? Which platforms do they really love? How do they feel when they spend a lot of time on those platforms, right? But we talk about, like, when do they feel better? They feel better when they're not addicted to it. They feel better when they're not posting a lot and then looking to see if people have commented or liked the posts. You know, social media really invites comparison and insecurity and materialism and these things that don't feel good. Okay, so talking to kids about sex, it's not just one conversation anymore. There's a whole bunch of different conversations that we can have. My best advice is short little conversations, right? Like little snippets. Just have in mind one little piece of information that you want to ask about to see if they understand it, and then give them a little bit of information, but try not to build it up too much.
The importance of that dinner time, that 20-minute, no devices. And you also said, and parents, this applies to you too. That is so important. Isn't that role modeling?
I want to just start with talk to you, right? So providing some real habitual structure around a place to talk. So, and once kids can, you know, drive, the car is no longer, you know, a habitual, like a everyday place where they can talk. So dinner time, insisting on a dinner time, I think is a really important family practice, right? I'm glad that you say, let's start with marijuana, because this is like, yeah, I get a lot of hate mail about this because I have a very strong research-based point of view. I'm very concerned about the marijuana usage that I'm seeing. I'm getting a lot of questions from parents asking me, they're like, oh, my teenage son says marijuana helps him with anxiety, is like a little bit is okay, right? And I think we've been, as a society, brainwashed by the pro marijuana lobby. And like, of course, there are medicinal benefits to, especially to CBD, right? Like for adults, what I want parents to understand, first of all, it's illegal, right, for teenagers to use. But what I want them to understand is that the medicinal benefits do not apply to the adolescent brain
as well.
Yeah, you know, if you take only one thing away from this talk, here's what I hope it is. This is a time to invest in yourself as a parent, not in your kids, in yourself. You know, you are your most important resource source.
It's been a long time of this. So leave us with what we can do now.
Yeah. So, and we might have a long time more.
True.
So
Right.
what we can do now is focus on others. How can we help other people? This is what will help us feel better in all of this. Think about the role that you're playing. How are you supporting other people right now? How are you supporting your neighbors? How are you supporting your school? They are trying their hardest, right? Like how are you supporting your teachers? Like what are you doing to be a force for good?